Before we get started here, I just really feel like the Lord is quickening me in my spirit to talk to somebody who's watching, who is struggling with their value and their worth. And if you, like I used to, are saying horrible things to yourself when you look in the mirror, if you're calling yourself names that if someone else called you, you'd want to punch them in the face. Maybe people are calling you those things, who are people who are supposed to love you, like family members or friends. If you're lying to yourself, if Satan's lying to you, I want you to stop right now. And I want you to know that the God who created everything that ever has been, that is, or ever will be, loves you. That you are a treasure to Him, that He thought up the idea of you, and He put you together exactly the way He wanted you to be, with the color of hair that you have, the color of eyes that you have, everything down to the last detail. And that you have value and you have worth because you are created in His image by Him, to know and be known by Him and to be loved. The God of the universe loves you, thought up you, knit you together in your mother's womb and made you. And you are beautiful and you are worthy. So if you're lying to yourself, stop. If you're listening to the voice of the enemy, who only desires to kill, steal, and destroy your life, stop listening to him. And you listen to the God of the universe, who over and over again in His Word has told us, and who's telling you how much He loves you. You matter. You have value. You have worth. Know that that is true. Your worth is not bound up in whether you look good in a bikini or board shorts. The most beautiful people I know in this life are people who the rest of the world probably wouldn't think much of, but their heart is so beautiful. And the way that they love God and the way that they love people, you can't help but want to be around them all the time. He loves you. He knows you. If you feel unworthy, if you feel gross or ugly or worthless, go to Him with it and let Him tell you who you really are. I love you. Welcome back to Where Do I Fit podcast. As promised, today we will discuss the idol of weight loss. So, just as a brief summary, basically in my life, I, from a pretty young age, wrestled with self-image, and it all started, some kids were making fun of me at a swimming pool party, good old church kids after church one day, when we all went to a friend's house to go swim, and they were just making fun of my body and laughing at me, and from that point forward, I became really insecure about my appearance. And to the point that when I was about, I guess I was a senior in high school, I ate one meal a day. Now that's a cool thing to do. If you're eating the right things. At the time, I was going to, just to like stay alive and have energy, I would go to McDonald's and get a double quarter pounder with cheese and a large Coke and French fries. I'll just get a combo, double quarter pounder with cheese, and I would eat one meal a day, just because subconsciously, intuitively, I knew I need to eat. And so I did that for a long time, pretty much that whole year. And by the end of it, I had gotten from, I don't know how big I was when I started, but I had gotten down pretty thin to where I'll try to find and post some pictures so you guys can see if I can find them. But like, my eyes were sunken back in my head, and I was real skinny. My cheekbones were sticking out, and you could see my neck and collarbone, just like, I was very emaciated, really, and just very, very unhealthy. And I kind of saw a picture of myself, and it snapped me back out of it. And I was just dealing with some depression at the time. Just had a lot of stuff going on, and kind of saw that picture and snapped back out of it, and started eating again and everything, and gained some healthy weight back. And I don't know, I was just kind of up and down for several years, and then eventually gained a lot of weight right as I started dating my wife and falling in love. And you know, you're just going out to eat all the time, and you're eating all the desserts, and just eating like everything in sight. And so yeah, I gained all the way up to 245 pounds, which my weight when I played linebacker in high school was probably about 180. And I kind of maintained about that size, for a while. And then pretty much in most of my early 20s, I guess I was around that weight. And then just started gaining weight. And so I got up to 245 pounds. And then I was leaning over trying to tie my shoes one day, and I was like, just trying to get around my stomach to tie my shoes, and was like, okay, something's got to change. But I didn't really know what and where, and so I'm sitting there one day, and the Lord just speaks directly to my heart, and he goes, Josh, is food going to be your comfort, or am I? I had lost a pet. My wife and I bought a little Chihuahua when a couple years into our marriage, I guess. And we loved that dog, and didn't have it very long, and she died kind of traumatically. And so, like, I went literally that night and got a whole Marie Callender's raspberry pie, which is raspberries and blackberries. Quite delicious. But I ate the whole thing in one sitting. I don't recommend it. So, yeah, that was kind of, I was making emotional choices, and I was finding comfort in food. And the Lord was like, okay, Josh, is it going to be food, or is it going to be me? And so I was just like, okay, Lord, I see what you're saying. Time to change. And so I began to work out and exercise, and, eat what I thought was like good, for me stuff, and stumbled across the keto diet, long story short, and got on that, and went with the keto diet from 145 pounds down to from 245 pounds down to 100, and I think 167 was like the lightest I got. And I was really lean, or maybe I'm 176, somewhere in the 60s or 70s, 160s, 170s. And, really leaned out, really got thin, and was weight training, was eating, just basically got rid of carbohydrates for the most part, except for what residual you get in vegetables and stuff. And did really well on that for a while. And then I got injured at, I used to work for Nissan, and some guy got out of a big old Titan, left it in drive, and it flew through the plant and crashed into the Altima I was in, checking the headliner. And so as it hit me, I twisted and hyperextended my neck. So that was a lot of fun. Ended up pretty severely injured, couldn't work for 3 years. And so after that 3-year period, I had gained all of the weight back. And so got depressed again that I had, because I pretty much didn't, I stayed in my bed a lot, just watching TV, just kind of eating whatever. And I don't remember like intentionally stopping eating healthy, but I just remember waking up one day and being like, oh my gosh, I'm very overweight again, and I don't know how I got here. And so I tried to, get back to the keto thing, and I just yo-yoed up and down for probably the next, really I've been doing that that was in 2019, so like 7 years now. I've been struggling to get that weight back off, and it's not working. And so, I've I had pretty high stress. You know, rebuilding my life after that experience, it required me to, you know, I had a very cushy job at Nissan. I would just basically, you know, plug vehicles in and sit on a roller and brake test vehicles, go drop it off on the shower line, walk back and get another one. That was my whole work day. Very relaxed, very chill. And going from that to what I do now, which is very physically exhausting, requires a lot of energy and effort. And I think my stress levels are really high and my cortisol is probably like through the roof. I need to go get all this checked out at a doctor, but you know how men are. I'm fine, I'll work it out, you know, it's gonna be all right. And so anyway, so I've been up and down losing the same, you know, 20, 30, 40 pounds for 7 years now. And you know, I just got to thinking the other day, I was looking at my Instagram, which is this Instagram that was my Josh Cherry Fitness account and the corresponding YouTube. And I was just going through and looking at it, and it was like video after video on my YouTube channel, and then, you know, post after post on my Instagram. And I just saw in myself a very insecure person whose whole identity had become wrapped up in what his physical body looked like. And the Lord convicted me and was like, missing the mark. I've made you for so much more than this, and your value and worth has so much more than what you see when you look in the mirror. And you know, I was literally going and weighing myself on the scale, not like once a week, you know, or even just popping on it in the morning and like, oh, okay, and then going on about my day. I was literally weighing myself on the scale like 7, 8, 9, 10 times a day. Sometimes like within the same like hour or two. Like I'd eat something and go, oh no, how much weight did I gain eating? Which is crazy because you're not actually gaining or losing weight eating. That's just food weight in your body. But anyway, I was just obsessing over my appearance and my weight, and to the point that it was making me miserable. And so we talked about previously, you know, the idol of collecting action figures and me trying to heal pain and fill a void with that. And I found myself here again wrestling with my own self-image and self-worth and identity and all of that. So the Bible says that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, that we're the apple of God's eye, that he loves us and treasures us, and we have value and worth because we're created in his image. We are the image bearers of the God who created any and everything that exists. And that's where our worth comes from, that he loves us. He created us to know him and be known by him and to be in relationship with him. And I lost sight of that to a degree, not completely, of course, but, you know, all I could think about was what, you know, this squishy thing around my waist. And so, yeah, God just kind of brought me back and was like, it's time to change, time to work on this. And so I'm kind of at a crossroads, and, you know, yes, it's important to exercise. Like, you know, God has given us this temple that he resides in, that his spirit resides in, our physical bodies. And we are to steward it well. You know, we're not, you know, there is an epidemic of diabetes and heart disease and everything else, you know, in America right now. If you look at images from the 70s, you know, 60s, 70s, 80s, most people are relatively thin. Being overweight was not super common. But you look now, it's almost rare and uncommon to find someone who's athletic and lean. You know, it's kind of flip-flopped in recent years. And so, you know, the reason that I want to be in good shape and be strong and be healthy is not now so that people can approve of me, which was the validation that I was seeking before. But now I just want to be able to fulfill the calling that God has placed on my life. And I know that I can't do that if I'm sick and weak and exhausted and worn out and unhealthy. To be used by God the way he wants to use me, I need to be a good steward of this body that he's given me. And so I'm just kind of resetting now and just getting back in the place where I'm like, okay, what I'm putting in my mouth, is it going to make me sick, or is it going to make me strong? Is it going to make me ill, or is it going to make me healthy? Am I honoring God with my body, not just in the way I clothe myself and carry myself, but in what I'm putting in my mouth hole? So, yeah, that's where I'm at. And, I stumbled across the carnivore diet over the last couple years, and basically you're just only eating meat, and it's an elimination diet. And what you do is you just kind of remove everything but just basic meat, salt, and water. The only essential nutrients are, of course, protein and fat. There is no essential carbohydrate. So if you go without protein, you'll wither away. If you go, excuse me, without fat, you won't have energy, your brain will suffer. But if you go without carbohydrates and you're having fat and protein, there's really no ill effects. So I know that that's good for my body, but I also don't want to just obsess over it. And I think I kind of slipped into that. It's okay to occasionally have some fruit, some vegetables, whatever. I know oxalates in vegetables can cause kidney stones, which I had my first kidney stones after I went on like a salad spree where I was basically eating like tons of spinach every single day, and then it gave me kidney stones. And so, yeah, there's low oxalate vegetables that you can eat, here and there, just for some variety. And, I season food with like garlic and salt and all that good stuff. But primarily, what I've been eating is, ground beef, seafood, a steak here and there when somebody treats me to one, because I can't afford it on a regular basis. But we have people who've been kind enough to treat me to a steak here and there. Sorry, I had a whole little like coughing fit there for a second. So anyway, basically where I'm at now is I'm not going to obsess over what my weight on the scale is. I'm not going to eat for comfort, but I am going to be intentional about honoring God with what I put in my mouth. And for me, at least now, what I believe he's leading me to is, primarily meat-based, but, a little fruit, little extras here and there with like some low oxalate vegetables and stuff that aren't going to cause inflammation. So that's kind of what I'm doing, if anybody cares or is interested. But yeah, getting back into the Word, studying the Word, listening to people teach the Word has really shifted my focus again, and gotten me back where I'm just more sensitive to what God is wanting to say to me and speak to me. And I just want to be strong. I want my life to impact the kingdom. I don't want my health to hold me back from God's calling on my life, whatever that is, whatever that's going to look like. I just want to be obedient, and I don't want anything preventing me from being able to walk in the freedom that is mine through the cross and through what Jesus has done for me. So that's where I, long story short, have come in with this idol of weight loss. And so I just had to lay it down and give it back to the Lord again. And it's okay to struggle. It's okay. We will not be perfect until we part the gates of glory one day and see Christ face to face. In this life, we will have ups and downs. We will take a couple steps forward and one step back. The Apostle Paul writes and says, wretched man that I am, who will deliver me from this body of death? The things I want to do, I don't do. The things I don't want to do, I do. Whether that's struggling with sin, whether it's the world, the flesh, or the devil that we're fighting, the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, or the pride of life, whatever it is, he says, who will deliver me? Praise be to God through the Lord Jesus Christ. It is in intimacy and fellowship with Jesus. It's in walking with him that we find victory. The way we overcome sin is not by white knuckling it and fighting that sin. The way that we overcome sin is by surrender to the Lord. When we say, okay, Lord, not my will, your will be done, and we lay whatever that thing is down at his feet and say, here it is, Lord. You're enough. You're everything. Do in me what you want to do in me. It's like getting arrested. All right, you got me. Hands up. Come get me, Lord. I'm yours. That's where I'm at. So, my encouragement to you today is whatever you're dealing with in life, whatever God's speaking to you about, just throw your hands up and surrender and just let him have it. He's worthy, and what he has for you is so much better. What he wants for you is so much better than what you think you want for yourself. Love you guys. Thanks for listening. Please leave a comment. If you want to send me a message or start a comment thread or whatever, talk to me about anything, I'm here. Would love to chat with you. I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.